Hi, my name is Angela Lewis. My earliest memory of a public library must have been like 4. And I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember going to the library with my dad and looking around. It was big. The impact of the library on my childhood, it kind of went hand in hand with how my dad would teach my sister and I new things. Like he was very much the dad, like, Daddy, how do you spell such and such? Go look it up in the dictionary. Well, how am I supposed to do that if I don't know how to spell it? But we would have to look it up anyway and figure it out. If we didn't see the word, it must be spelled a different way. And then, there was a lot of atlases and encyclopedias. And so going to the library, it was just a vast resource full of other resources. And we had our own mini little library in our home. And I remember the encyclopedia with the Aesop's fables and and all the arts and crafts. And so going to the library was kind of an extension of that and just being around. It also, now that I'm in it, makes me remember being a part of the city of Detroit because everybody had access to it. And so everybody was there, could be there. And so I was very much aware, felt kind of like the world almost. Now we're in the world. One of the most important lessons I've learned in my career, the one that's jumping out to me is that Hollywood is a machine. It is a machine where people go to make money. Therefore, anything that I am experiencing in Hollywood is not about me. It is about me as a brand, as a product, and my relationship to others within the confinement of Hollywood is how people are looking at me in terms of how can they make money, or are they making money from me, my product, or not? Anytime I am working, I have to just be aware that I am working, that this is not about me. I'm not going to find my joy in Hollywood. I'm not going to find my peace in Hollywood. I'm not going to find my happiness in Hollywood. And so, where is it that I can find those things? I have to look outside of my career for my own personal joy and inner peace. One of the best pieces of advice that I've received is from John Singleton. And he wasn't giving me life advice or anything, but it turns out he was. But we would be on set and I would be playing Aunt Louie in some scene. And he would be like, Angela, be more Detroit. You need to be more Detroit. And at first, I used to get so mad because I felt like everybody from Detroit is not hood. I grew up in Detroit. Like, what is he trying to say? And then he said it so much. Like, I knew what he was saying, but I had to really, what is he really saying? Because he says it a lot. And I was like, yes, it is be more gritty in the context of Louie having to obtain her objective in this scene. But it is also, where is your power? You're not in your power right now. And one of the things that I have had to learn in my life is how to not be scared. As I grew up, I just obtained all these little bags of fear, scared of bugs or scared of gunshots. So I think by the time I got to New York, I was afraid of a lot of things. And ultimately, it kind of became paralyzing, which was the thing that was kind of the page turner for me. Like, okay, I can't not do anything. I can't be in my apartment stuck. I got to figure out how to move either without fear or with fear in the back seat. And ultimately, I learned you can put fear in the back seat and keep it moving. So John would be saying, where is your power? And I had to learn how to move in spite of my fear. I really wanted to do a big service, a big justice to Louie because I felt like she represented so many Black women who get overlooked and tossed aside and stepped over. And I really wanted her to have a voice. I really wanted her to be compassionate, a being that one could feel compassion for. I had to learn how to be in my power. I had to learn how to not be afraid, even within the context of this character, not be afraid to say what I want. And then that ultimately translated to my real life. I had to learn how to say what I want and to not be afraid and to ask for what I want. They might say no, but ask anyway. It is not anyone's responsibility to take care of me. It's not anybody's responsibility to just hand over anything. I got to say it. I got to ask for it. I got to just say the thing. And that changed a lot for me in crazy ways. As it relates to libraries, my offering of advice would be to use your resources. The library is there, and it is a resource that has so many other resources in it, from books, plays, particularly in New York at the Lincoln Center Library. You can watch productions. And there's just so much to learn, and it's free. You know what I mean? Like, go and spend your time. You can go to the drama bookshop, but you don't have to. You can get that same play from the library. You have access to more than you think. Go to the library and use the resources there that are for you. It's for you. I would tell my children to keep going to the library, to keep having fun, because they love the library right now. I think the advice would be more for me to remember to keep taking them to the library, because I think at a certain point, sometimes we forget about the library. We forget that we can go there. It's like, we have Google at our fingertips, so we can just Google the answer. There is a connection between you and yourself as it relates to the world that you can access at the library. And so I would just encourage myself to keep encouraging my children to stay connected. Work ethic is very important because there are talented people everywhere, but work ethic will win the day every time, because people recognize it when you are prepared. They recognize it when you're not prepared. And in terms of a work environment, any given work environment, we're there to make money. Yeah, we want it to be good, but we're there to make money. And if you're not prepared, you're wasting time, you're wasting money. And I think that when people see that you are wanting to be there so much that you have already done what you needed to do, then another person is more inclined, even on the next thing, to say, you know what? They really had their shit together and they came and they brought it. Let's hire them again. I love libraries because I love resources. I love life, right? And I love the knowing that there are people who are not me that exist in this world, who have very little in common with me, if anything at all. And I can meet them there. I have access to other worlds, access to other schools of thought. I have access to other cultures. I have access to things that are not me. I have access to expansion, and it's right there. As it relates to libraries, my legacy, I literally built my career from word of mouth. And I built my career doing new plays. The plays that I seem to be getting cast in were all brand new plays, like world premieres, never been seen before. You'll hear me sometimes say I was standing on the brink of American theater. And so it became important for me when a play that I was in had been published, and you could open it and it'll say, this character was originated by Angela Lewis. That for me became like, oh, this is how, if I never win an award, if I never get on a TV show, somebody will open this and they'll either say, oh, Angela Lewis did this play, or they'll say, man, who is Angela Lewis? Whatever the reaction is, I'm here. I did something. And those plays are in the library. And so now it's in black and white. To have that, to have a place where something that I did that lives on and will continue to inspire others. And then, at the Lincoln Center Library, like I said, you can go and you can watch performances. So some of my performances are there. It's like that exists forever. It's huge. 250 years is huge. Like within the context of the world, 250 years is like nothing, right? But even that is a bit beyond my comprehension. Like 250 years, that's a long time. And when you think of, though, a place that houses information that existed even before the United States. To me, that says you can find truth there. Where is the truth that people are trying to hide? Where are the words, the beginnings, the newspaper articles that tell the truth? This is what was really said. This is what was really happening. All the things they don't want you to know online, on TV, whatever, you can go and look for it yourself. The library is asking you to take action for yourself. You come to the library and you find the truth for yourself. The senses can take you back to a memory immediately. And when I think of libraries, I just think the smell of paper and of expansion. And if you don't understand what that means, I just offer you to go and stand in the library, close your eyes, and just breathe. And to me, that is expansion. It's the smell, the feel of possibility. The sensual experience of all of that is always what I experience when I walk into a library.
Thank you for listening to 250 Stories, a production of HPL Studios at Hartford Public Library. This episode was written and produced by Christopher T. Brown, sound by Sam Sigmund, edited by Faith Lucas, and with photography and graphic design support from Hartford Public Library's communications team and the Hartford History Center. For more information on this project, visit www.hplstudios.hplct.org. New episodes release every Tuesday, so subscribe to stay tuned.